What did you do to that man? Why would he act fresh off of 2 trips, back-to-back trips to an NFC championship game? Why would that man sit up there and say, I don't want no parts of y'all? You did something to him, and nobody there has asked him that. What did you do to him? That is what this is about. That's the story.
I know one person you listen to about Aaron Rodgers. Go ahead, Lewis.
No, look, Stephen A., listen, I agree. Okay, I agree with your point here about this being bigger than football. And I think for the Green Bay Packers, and I said this yesterday, I said, look, there obviously was there's an accumulation of things that have happened to Aaron, and maybe not just to Aaron, but to other people in this organization, whether it be players. I can't go any further than that. But I think specifically though with players, maybe that were stalwart players, that were pillar players in terms of how they were treated and how they were looked at within the organization, and how, their time came to an end there and how that was handled, that obviously is not sitting well with him, and how his time, as he said a year ago, that he didn't think he could control how his time there in Green Bay was going to end, how that is being handled. Those are the kind of things when you're talking about, when you're asking the question, what have you done to this man? I think those are the kind of things that we're talking about here. And I have said, look, I get it from his side of it because I've seen it from a player perspective and from a front office perspective. Guys like Aaron Rodgers have earned the right to have different levels of communication and conversation with front office and management than other people would. That's just a fact. Brian Gutekunst knows this. I know Mark Murphy knows this. He's been in the league a long time. They know better than that. They know better than to think that we, the Packers, the emblem, the colors, are bigger than the players. Because the players made the Packers who they are. And Aaron Rodgers in particular has brought a level of attention to this franchise on par with anyone that they've ever had at that franchise. So for them to not recognize that and or change the way that they're doing business is a big mistake. Because you see, and it's a mistake that now has resulted in this. A guy saying, as you just alluded to, Stephen A., I don't want to play for you. I don't want to play for you. It's not about money. It's not about anything. I just don't want to play for you. You know why? Because I don't like you. I don't like how you do things. Now, for Green Bay, it does make sense for him to sit out. It does. If I was Green Bay, I would like the fact that he's not coming to training camp from this regard. If you're a really reasonable person and have some common sense, I would take him for his word and say, look, he ain't coming back. We better find out where we are with Jordan Love. We better find out what our football team's going to look like. And you know what? I don't care what they do during training camp and preseason. They're still not going to know. They're still not going to know.
Hey, Max, let me chime in here because I want to throw this. I want to make sure before you chime in, I want to throw this about you because I want you to comment about this as well. We've obviously lived through some really turbulent times over the last year and a half. We all know why, right? And it wasn't just COVID that I'm talking about, obviously. But I'm not going to bring all of that up. I'm only bringing that up to say, Max, when we hearken back to those times, you religiously, and Lewis, you've heard Max do this as well. You've brought up Colin Kaepernick. What we've also done is we've used it to highlight the level of control that NFL franchises exercise. Now, when you handle it as Lewis would, and we all believe that Lewis should be an executive in the NFL. I ain't shy about saying that. But the level of professionalism and decorum that you exercise is ultra important even more to the football players because they already feel like they have to succumb to the establishment. You have individuals in positions of power in the National Football League who know they're buffered by the rules that govern the league. And so as a result, they're able to look at an Aaron Rodgers. And instead of listening to him and saying, hey, man, we get where you're coming from. This is what we're thinking about doing. Here's why. We want to hear what you have to say, but this is what we're thinking. They're the type of people that have said to him, you go play football. We handle this. You stay in your place. That's how he's been treated. It's not just about other players. That's how they've treated him. And so to me, when we bring up football stuff, that should be a further indictment against the Green Bay Packers as an organization. Because why would somebody want to leave a team that's been to back-to-back NFC championship games? Why would they want to leave?
Yeah.
What have you done to them?
Stephen A., I totally agree with that. And in fact, that's why I'm saying what the Packers need to get through their heads if they want to keep Rodgers is they're not the ones deciding. Rodgers is the one deciding. If he stays, it's because they have changed his mind. That's why I'm saying here, if they decide Jordan Love ain't it, then they need to trade Jordan Love. They need to come hat in hand publicly to Aaron Rodgers, humble themselves, and appeal to his sensibilities. Hey, we were wrong. You were right. We would like you to stay, hoping they can change his mind. But they won't be able to force him to do anything. They know they won't be able to force him to do anything. I hear you, and I agree. And, Lewis, I believe that Rodgers here will be the deciding one. The NFL has changed the rules around the quarterback and the offense to the point where if you are super great, if you're a great quarterback, you are now like an NBA star in terms of the power you wield. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. We'll see if the Packers know it or not.
It's possible they might not know
that.
They
may not know it, and then they're behind the
Lewis,
times.
you could go, but it's possible they might not know that because they might treat him like they treat typical players. Oh, they'll come back for the money. He ain't sitting out the season. They might have that
But
kind
you
of
brought it up. He could go host Jeopardy.
Yes, he could.
They're going to pass on 3 first-round picks and more stuff.
That was their best ratings.
Yeah, I'll say this. Let me speak to it from Green Bay side and then circle back to something you said, Max, about who's going to actually decide this thing. Look, Green Bay, if I'm looking at it from their side, all right, let me just put myself in their shoes from a management perspective. And what would I do if I were them at this point? If I had already pushed it to this point anyway, I wouldn't do anything. Okay, I think I would have already made my best pitch in order to try and quote-unquote change his mind. Right now, all of my energy would be focused on what we have there, and that's Jordan Love, and trying to figure out, was he worth trading up for in the draft? Is he someone who will try and get some answers here through the rest of the summer and through training camp, preseason, and the regular season, but we're not going to have all the answers. This is what we've got to ride with. Okay, we already know where Aaron stands with this. And then let me get back to this point here about Aaron Rodgers. They're not going to change his mind. Aaron will play in Green Bay if he wants to. If he doesn't, then he may just be forced to retire. Because I don't think Green Bay's not going to acquiesce to him. I don't think, and at least not before the regular season starts.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.